So that's actually the real question. What is really happening? What is really happening? Let's see if Mr. Elon Musk, our buddy Elon Musk, is experiencing any type of racism in the world. Always good to know that, right?
Now I'm in this absurd situation where I was born in South Africa but cannot get a license to operate in Starlink because I'm not black.
Well, it looks like that's about
right
it looks like that
right to you?
Looks like that's about to change.
I just asked you a question. Please answer. Does that seem right to you?
Well, those rules were designed to bring
yes or no?
those rules were designed to bring about an era of more economic equality in South Africa, and it looks like the government has found a way around those rules for you.
Ask you a question.
This is your interview. Everyone wants to hear from you.
Ask you a question. Yes or no?
Not
Racist
for me.
laws, yes or no?
Not for me to answer. I have got a question for you about your government work though and the amount of savings.
Why do you like racist laws?
This is not for me to answer. Come on.
Yes, it is.
Now you wouldn't be trying to dodge a question.
You have to ask a question. I answered my question. Now I'm in this absurd situation.
Yeah, born in South Africa, trying to make the world a better place, and they're just like, no. Can't do that, Elon. We cannot have you do that. We need to keep Starlink someplace else. Fans of artificial intelligence, if they're telling a funny story. All right, so I guess this is from at the Forbidden Cloths. And before we get involved in that, the content on this channel is intended for entertainment, commentary, and satirical purposes only. Views express our opinions, interpretations, and comedic takes on publicly available information. It should not be taken as a statement of fact. This channel may include parody, exaggeration, and humor in the style of political satire. Any references to individuals, organizations, or events are part of commentary and are not intended to assert factual claims. Nothing presented on this channel should be considered legal, financial, medical, or professional advice. Viewer discretion is advised. By watching, you acknowledge that this content is for entertainment and commentary purposes only. What do we have here?
Don't fight it, Donnie.
All right, we got Donnie. We got Mr. Island Man right next to him.
We've been bonded since the 90s. We don't want those tapes to come out now, do we?
Does Island Man have tapes of Donnie? Africa is no longer a testing grounds. Ground Zero by Joshua One Power. Thank you for joining in on the chat. What do you mean by that? They're ground zero. Define ground zero. The target of a projectile such as a missile or bomb, the site of a terrorist bombing or other violent act of destruction, the site directly below, directly above, or at the point of detonation of a nuclear weapon. Goodness gracious. So does that mean Africa is next?
Call Tucker low IQ.
Call Tucker low IQ. All right.
Tell them that Candace is unattractive.
Candace Owens is unattractive. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every single day of 2026.
And call Alex Jones a nut job.
I've given you war. I've given you chaos. I've done everything you've asked me to.
Asked? Silly Donnie. I don't ask.
Does Island Man ask? I guess not, right? Goodness gracious. Ray BW2JZ says, we are Trumpstein. Oh my gosh.
Maybe it's me.
Oh my gosh. So I guess you can't talk about South Africa on TikTok. Violation warning, your live is flagged. All right. Then what I can say is ciao, tickety tockety. Okay. We're gonna end TikTok. TikTokers, if you want to chat, come join all of us on YouTube. Bye, TikTok.
He's gone. I'm in charge now. You'll get everything. The wars, the money, all of it.
So is Island Man making sure Trump makes all these moves? What's going on?
Now about these tapes.
Sharon Reed, just another TDS podcast. Thank you for joining in on the chat. What do you mean, just another TDS podcast? Dr. Trumpenstein? Oh, thank you, Ray. I'm quite fascinated by this video. Pretty funny video. You know, I think that's the first time we've ever had a TDS podcast. I guess people are considering us TDS, man. Are we TDS, chat? What do you think? Are we TDS? I thought we're anything but TDS. Truth seekers, maybe?
Do you do IQ test here?
Yep, that's what we do.
So here we have low IQ Alex Jones finding out the shocking truth here. Is there any room left in Trump with double B already in there from D. Martin? I don't know, broski. I don't know. Yeah, Ray. In here, in it, and join. WG Powell, thank you for being here, brother.
Okay, because I think I need one.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Why do you need one?
Well, I've had some people lately telling me I have a low IQ.
Ooh, shots fired. Gosh, who's been telling you that?
Well, some people online have been telling me that, like the president, and even my dogs are looking at me a little bit condescendingly now.
Well, we'll find out. So with this IQ test, I'll just ask you a series of simple, really common sense questions, and you just give me your best answer.
I'm actually kind of a little bit nervous right now.
Oh yeah, you should be, because if you turn out to be what some would call a low IQ nut job, then you're pretty much a lost cause.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
All right, first question. Which word doesn't belong? Apple, banana, carrot, orange.
Is it carrot?
Very good.
Javid Shah Payanderan says the Iranian regime and the IRGC are terrorists. In just 2 days in January, they massacred 50,000 children and young people using military weapons and tanks across Iran. What? That's wild. Do you have any footage or pictures? That's may their souls rest in peace. That's a very, very sad thing. World Free Speech, XRP. What is XRP?
Because it's not a fruit and all. It's clever. Next question. Who would be considered more of a traitor to their country? Person A, who receives $230 million from a foreign lobby, or person B, who receives $0 from a foreign lobby?
So with a quick Google search, XRP is a fast, low-cost, decentralized cryptocurrency designed for cross-border payments and remittances, acting as a bridge currency between different fiat currencies. It is a native asset of the open-source XRP ledger, XRPL, allowing for settlement in 3 to 5 seconds and often used in conjunction with RippleNet by financial institutions. I don't know anything about crypto. I'm just reading this. This is not advertisement. Just trying to figure out what that is.
Clearly person A.
Wrong.
Come on, that's got to be correct.
Next, hypothetical question. If a country has a major shipping waterway that you want to have open, and it's currently open, but they'll close it if you go to war.
Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we're going live every single day of 2026. And WG Powell, yeah, she might be female. And just to let y'all know, we love our 20% of female subscribers here. So that's always something that we want to mention. XRP oil companies will be sending money this way. Then you haven't hit the market yet. Oh, are they trying to get away from the petrodollar and using the XRP? That would be wild. What type of effect would that have on the world currency? Linus of Love, how you doing? Good to see you. Kazi Kizzy says, I think you'll find everyone but Americans aware that Americans are the villains of TBF world. What is TBF? And Barry says, hey, Alex, I'm so happy that all the naysayers were proven wrong by you and are forced to eat crow now. What is the truth regarding Antarctica's secrets? True. Want to know about Antarctica's secrets?
Or what would be a smart way to ensure that waterway stays open?
You don't go to war with them.
No, not even close. Common sense would say go to war with that country and stay at war with that country as a way of putting pressure on them to reopen it after they've closed it because you went to war with them.
Are you playing with a full deck?
I don't play cards, but thanks for asking. Oh, and this is a good one. If you had the desire to take down an international pedophile ring, what would be the best way to follow through on that desire?
Well, you launch a full investigation using every means necessary, and then you prosecute those bastards to the fullest extent of the law.
Wrong. No. You would launch an effort to prevent any investigations and prosecutions.
That can't be right.
Well, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
These questions are kind of weird.
Oh, I assure you, these are standardized IQ test questions, sir. Next question. Here's a scenario. You got a person, they work for America and America only. What country does that person work for?
America?
That's incorrect. They work for Iran. Next question. Who's more beautiful as a woman? France's First Lady, or maybe man, or Candace Owens?
Candace Owens?
No.
Have you seen France's First Lady?
I would totally do her. If she had an OnlyFans, I would subscribe. Any reasonable man would. Okay, how would you describe what America First means?
Putting America's interests first above any other foreign nation.
No, you're actually describing anti-Semitism. Yuck. Okay, last question. What year did we first land on the moon?
We've never been to the moon.
No, we've been to the moon. We go all the time. Well, your test is complete. I've never seen a score like this before.
What'd I get?
You got an IQ of 65.
Is that high?
No, that's a very low IQ.
My life is literally ruined. He was right.
Who was right?
Just don't worry about that now. My big question is, what am I going to do with my life now that I've learned that I am so stupid?
Well, just remember, you're also a nut job. But yeah, you're pretty screwed. Really, the only option I can give low IQ people such as yourself is to go off and open a Somali daycare.
I am completely devastated. Oh my God.
What do you think, chat? Does Mr. Alex Jones have a low IQ? Sandra says, dumbest POTUS in American history. Tobias says, you keep worshiping Trump like he's a god. Why can't you admit he's not good? Yes, I fell for his lies, but now I admit he's bad, he's corrupt. And P3D, open your eyes. Yeah. Very interesting. So I don't know if I can show this video because there's sensitive content. But let me just double check to see where this. Do you guys know about the Nova Festival? So this was like the attack on Israel. Let me see if they're blurred out. No, I don't want to send it because it's not too blurred out, but it's not too good either. So, but this one's blurred out, which we can show, thankfully. So this dude is obviously not wearing what he should be wearing. You see that English flag right there? might give you an idea of what's happening. So it's good to see British men actually standing up. This behavior from third world invaders cannot be allowed to slide.
Yo, you need to get off the fucking train.
So this dude, looks like he's not wearing underwear or nothing, but he is wearing headphones and a hat and a shirt. He's got his belt in his hand.
Fuck off! You need to get off. Fuck off! You need to get off. Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off!
Man, this dude is being aggressive.
Fuck off! Fuck off! You need to get off the fucking train, mate. There's fucking kids about, man. Right, let's go. What the fuck, mate? Get off the fucking train.
What do feminists think about this? Are the feminists going to get up and tell this man to get off the train?
Put up your fucking trousers, mate. No.
You think they're going to throw him out the train while the train's moving? This team. At least wait until the train is stopped, man. Tell it's a chick who videoing this. Like, imagine you're just waiting outside the train, you see like a bunch of dudes carrying out a half-dressed man dressed on only the top part. It's so wild, dude. It's so wild. Subway surfers. Yeah, man. Yeah. How many more immigrants would the U.S. have with Camala in office? My goodness. My goodness. Yo, how you doing, Margaret? Thank you for joining on the chat. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every single day of the week, of the year. We're going live every single day of the year. That's right. And Boho says, can chat justify his take on Sandy Hook? Talking about Alex Jones. Very good question. Very good question. Fernando Carmona says, I don't know, man. Feels like T is killing it. Think he's referring to POTUS, Mr. Donald Trump.
With a threat from the east out about that. In this sense, side, and we also sent certain signals to our Iranian friends. In general, we can ensure Iran's interests in the field of nuclear energy. At the same time, we can take care of Israel's safety. In my
Yemi has joined the chat saying, it's all one big machine, new season, new villain, or they bring back an oldie but goodie pawns on a board. What does this have to do with feminists or immigration? That was an immigrant on a train in England. And from what I've experienced, a lot of feminists are for opening the borders and allowing immigration into their countries until they see what a lot of these illegal aliens, who tend to be bad people, they don't tend to be doctors or engineers or mechanics or landscapers or builders. They happen to be criminals, and they're all for opening the border until they get hurt by one of these illegal immigrants. Alice Tango says, I live there, dude. You living there? How is it? How is it?
If you have the opportunity to speak to the members of this agency,
Yemi Cat Productions knows what's happening. He says, not one stood up to stop it. That is the point.
what would you say to them?
Ooh, burn plant. Love it. Gaudy. You sound stupid. Please, help me sound smarter. How can I improve? Thank you for the chat. We're going live every single day of 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can get amazing comments like that one from Burn Plant.
What is your message?
И мой вопрос очень прямой. Если у вас будет возможность
What is the task?
или выступить перед этими членами
Do you consider such a NATO rearmament a threat to Russia?
в чем заключается задача, и считаете ли вы такое перевооружение НАТО угрозой для России?
We do not consider any NATO rearmament a threat to the Russian Federation because we are self-sufficient in terms of ensuring our security, and we are constantly improving our armed forces and our defensive capabilities. Whatever NATO does, of course, it creates a certain threat, but we are coping with all these threats that will arise. There is no doubt about that. In this sense, any rearmament and an increase in NATO budget by up to 5% from the GDP do not make any sense. This is the first point. The second point. You know, for centuries, unfortunately, this is how I can fully affirm this, for centuries in the West, all the time, not all the time, but from time to time, there has always been a question of a threat from Russia. It was so convenient for the Western elites to build their own internal policy, because on the basis of a possible threat from the East, it was always possible to extort money from taxpayers and to explain one's own economic mistakes with a threat from the East.
Yeah, what's going on with just sucking taxpayer money and not being very effective with it? So allegedly, NATO rearmament is primarily intended to deter Russian aggression, but it is perceived by Moscow as a threat to its security interests, increasing risks of escalation, while NATO maintains it is a defensive alliance. The accelerated military strengthening, particularly in Eastern Europe, creates a volatile security dilemma where both sides heighten preparedness.
Minister of Foreign Affairs can be found in general. As you know, at one time, we intercepted a project in Iran
Ahmad has joined the chat. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
which was carried out by German companies and completed the Bucha nuclear power plant. The German companies left.
The German companies left. Speaking about Germans, Outsanhaya says, my German heritage wishes Trump was the dictator you think he is.
And the Iranians asked us to continue. This was difficult because what the German specialists were doing was their design and
Outsanhaya. Good for you, bro. Good for you. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every single day of 2026.
had to make a lot of effort to adapt it all to the Russian design.
Yeah, absolutely need to. And Dropship Captain has said geriatrics have to get out of politics. The oligarchs are the very foundation of this problem. What is the ideal age limit? What do you think would be best? Like somewhere between 30 and 60, something like that. And then if you're past 60, then you can only be considered a consultant that has multiple layers of idea, thought process passing before those ideas actually take into effect.
With Iran, why do I think so? Because the level of trust between our countries is quite high. And we have a very good relationship with Iran. We could continue this work and ensure their interests in this area. I will not go into details now, there are many of them, and we discussed all these details with the Israeli side and with the American side And we also sent certain signals to our Iranian friends. In general, we can ensure Iran's interests in the field of nuclear energy.
Yummy Cat Productions. What do you think they do after the meeting? Get blimpies catered and then straight to the leather and lace? You never know, bro. You never know. Some of them just get into that stuff, you know. And who am I to judge them? How am I to judge them? And Jordan John 2010, well done. Oh, we got a light issue. Says we should all take a step back and say we are on a fragile planet. So if we nuke each other, where do we go? Don't know that? Come on, people. Come on. Thank you for the chat.
At the same time, we can take care of Israel's safety. In my opinion, there are such options. I repeat, we have offered them to our partners, the United States, Israel, and Iran. We are not imposing anything on anyone. We are just talking about how we see a possible way out of the situation. But the decision, of course, lies with the political leadership of all these countries, primarily Iran and Israel.
First of all, I would like to join my colleagues in expressing my gratitude for having the opportunity to be here, where you can directly listen to our colleagues from the agency and thank TASS for hosting us. As you know, in a few days the NATO summit will take place, and one of the topics they will discuss is that Europe is thinking about rearmament and plans to spend more on military spending. My question is very direct. If you have the opportunity to speak to the members of this agency, what would you say to them? What is your message? What is the task? Do you consider such a NATO rearmament a threat to Russia?
Задача, и считаете ли вы такое перевооружение НАТО угрозой для России?
We do not consider any NATO rearmament a threat to the Russian Federation, because we are self-sufficient in terms of ensuring our security, and we are constantly improving our armed forces and our defensive capabilities. Whatever NATO does, of course, it creates a certain threat, but we are coping with all these threats that will arise. There is no doubt about that. In this sense, any rearmament and an increase in NATO budget by up to 5% from the GDP do not make any sense. This is the first point. The second point. You know, for centuries, unfortunately, this is how I can fully affirm this, for centuries in the West, all the time, not all the time, but from time to time, there has always been a question of a threat from Russia. It was so convenient for the Western elites to build their own internal policy.
Yeah. Spot Rater Northeast 2791 says Putin is a legend. Yeah, Putin's got some amazing things, you know. From what I hear, he criminalizes people who put poisons in their food and mass produce it. Imagine how healthy the United States would be if they did the exact same thing. You know, health is super important, and that would be absolutely incredible. Incredible. And Kathy Byerly, 7904, says, stop the war in Ukraine. Absolutely. Stop that war. Stop all the wars. Find something else to compete in. Don't hurt innocent people.
Because on the basis of a possible threat from the East, as you know, at one time, we intercepted a project in Iran which was carried out by German companies and completed the Bucha nuclear power plant. The German companies left, and the Iranians asked us to continue. This was difficult because what the German specialists were doing was their design. And
Selena Girl 69 says draft beer, not kids. Absolutely. Go on and get some of that draft beer in your life. Don't draft the children into wars. We're going live every single day of 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. I love you. The Lord loves you. Let's do this.
And Rosatom had to make a lot out of effort to adapt it all to the Russian design. Nevertheless, we did it, and this unit is working, and it is working successfully. We have signed a contract for the construction of 2 more units. The work is underway, and our specialists are on site. This is more than 200 people. And we have agreed with the Israeli leadership that their safety will be ensured. In general, it seems to me that, given Iran's plans to continue the use and development of nuclear energy, including in agriculture, medicine, and so on, but this is not nuclear energy. And in nuclear energy, we could, together with Iran, why do I think so? Because the level of trust between our countries is quite high. And we have a very good relationship with Iran. We could continue this work and ensure their interests in this area.
Ivan Pupkin says, by the help of Google Translate in Russian, Happy Cosmonautics Day, comrades. Hurrah! And there's a ceasefire for the holiday in Russia. Did you guys know about that?
I will not go into details now. There are many of them. And we discussed all these details with the Israeli side and with the American side. And we also sent certain signals to our Iranian friends. In general, we can ensure Iran's interests in the field of nuclear energy.
Kevin Potter says, sorry, mate, are you a Putin fan? We are talking about a man who has had lots of people murdered by his orders and has sent over 1 million of his own people to their deaths. He is not a great leader. I don't know much about Putin, and I would not say actions like that are the signs of a great leader. But what I can say is what he did with the food in Russia is absolutely brilliant. How he made sure the people who manufacture these foods are not allowing poisons to go inside of those foods. As far as the politics of Russia and other things, I can't necessarily make a comment. I can't say I'm a fan or a foe of him. Still trying to learn, trying to stay unbiased and try to find the truth.
At the same time, we can...
Thomas Davenport, don't trust any of them, especially when their lips are moving. And Melissa Voss says, he cannot be trusted at all. Thank you all for your chats.
Take care of Israel's safety.
Do you consider such a NATO rearmament a threat to Russia?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to know, and like we see these things from the television and the news, and it's been shown so many times that the news is compromised, if you will, hugely compromised, might I add, and just to find the truth, it's not an easy thing to do, but we're here, we're trying to find the truth, and there's no reason not to. What are your thoughts on Camala?
help, Rev. They told me you waste your time. She's not going to win. Stay.
And for taking the time this morning for us to all get together. And Rev, thank you for your long-standing leadership, for your friendship, for being an advisor, for being an inspiration, especially in the most difficult times. I thank you for that.
I thank you. I thank you for being here. Thank you. The first gentleman is with us too. Doug, stand up, Doug. Let me go right into some of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about.
All right.
Today, even with the tenuous ceasefire, the war is no longer contained. It's become a regional war in terms of Iran.
Yummy. Are we talking about what I said about Putin or about Camala?
And we get mixed signals from the president, which is not strange to me, that one day we're going to stop, one day we're going to start, one day it's not a war, one day it is. And on Easter Sunday, using all kind of profanity and attacking a religion or mocking it. I mean,
so there's some hate
from the first strikes. You have been about your opposition to this war and to this engagement. And as you see it now, explain to me why there's such a danger on a global level, which I believe was the basis that you had opposed this engagement from the beginning and had said that. And it seems like, not that you wanted to be right, that you have been right, because we're losing.
War of choice that Trump has entered. Let us understand, first of all, this president is the first president of the United States since World War II who does not believe in the alliances that we have with friendly nations, does not believe in the strength of them, the recognition of the history with them, and the importance that that relationship bears on our standing around the world, our influence around the world, not to mention our national security. This is the first president of the United States post-World War II who has not considered the United States of America to have a responsibility to be a standard bearer around international rules and norms such as sovereignty and territorial integrity. Look what he did as it relates, and what he has been doing as it relates to Ukraine. And why is this important? Because America's strength in the context of the globe and the world relies on a number of things. Yes, it relies on the fact that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, our military, and it relies on what we call our soft power, which is the importance that we have placed in being a participant with other
Wait a minute, she was talking about Ukraine and how Trump started Ukraine. Who was president in 2022? Joe Biden. What else happened in 2022? And the Ukraine-Russia thing has been going on for 15 years, or even maybe more than that, some will argue. But the current full-scale Russia-Ukraine war began on February 24th, 2022. Russia launched a major invasion. This followed an initial conflict where Russia annexed Crimea and supported separatists in eastern Ukraine in early 2014, resulting in an ongoing 8-year conflict prior to the 2022 escalation. So let's go, Camala, see what you're talking about.
Democracies around holding up international rules and norms such as human rights, such as the importance of respect.
Oh, who was president in 2014? None other than Hussein Barack Obama. Barack Hussein. Who is saying Barack Obama was president in 2014, serving as the 44th president when one of the first situations in Ukraine happened.
Affecting relationships. Foreign policy is a lot like your friendships in your personal life. The strength of the friendship is going to be based on some mutual recognition of the history of the friendship, what you've been through together. It's going to rely on trust, which is a reciprocal relationship. You give and you receive trust. It's a back and forth. Friendships rely on consistency. Do I follow through on what I say? What I've said? Well, none of this can be counted on when it comes to Donald Trump. None of it. It is, yes, evidence of his lack of character, but it is harmful to the people of America, not to mention people in allied nations around the world. So he enters into this war, a war of choice. Remember, the man said he got rid of their nuclear arsenal. Obliterated it, he said. You know how he likes to use those kind of words? Obliterated it. Which is not an ambiguous term. That means you took it out.
Yeah, yeah. RB Media says, I hope she runs again because all the comedians need more material and she's a treasure trove of material.
Well, evidently he didn't do that. He is causing U.S. service members, 13 to have lost their lives, hundreds, it is estimated, of others to be injured, some very seriously, putting U.S. service members at risk. Abandoning alliances. He's been pointing fingers at NATO, right? So understand what that is. Those are friends of ours that we have had, and that bond formed mostly out of what happened in the 1930s. Again, post-World War II.
Obama's that you.
Under our administration, we expanded NATO. We brought 2 more countries in. He's now pointing fingers at these friends of ours who don't want to go along with his war of choice. And I mention all of this to say 2 things in particular, which keeps me up at night, frankly, as your former Vice President of the United States. And it is this: America.
Richard Dean Andresen has joined the chat and says, you mean the friends that you have to pay 2/3 of their bill and they don't back you up when you need help? Bam! What do you have to say about that, Camala? We're going live every day of 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications.
America has increasingly, under Donald Trump, become more unreliable.
And Ziggy says, how many soldiers did we lose because of her and Biden's embarrassing withdrawal? Yeah, do we even want to go through those numbers, y'all? My goodness.
As a partner to our friends, and America has increasingly, second point, lost influence. So when we otherwise...
That's absolutely false. Actually, there's a little bit more respect for America since Trump has gotten into office.
Could say, you know, in X country, we're concerned about human rights violations. Even if it did not directly affect our national security, we had some level of authority to speak about these things in a way that we had earned the ability of people to listen and pay attention and maybe try to do better.
The crackle box.
We have become more unreliable under this man, and we are losing influence. And my concern...
Salty Rag says, get this broad back into the kitchen. Go on and do some dishes, broad.
Is not only just the fact of it, But it's going to take a while and some serious work, way beyond the end of this man's term, to regain whatever we had. I will tell you, Rev, though, what gives me some sense of optimism includes this. As Vice President of the United States, I met with over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings.
Okay, I definitely want to know what she's going to say. But also, I want to stand and sit corrected. Alice Tango 6725 says, incorrect. He is destroying your reputation. Please let me know the reason he is destroying our reputation. Would love to know.
Many of them multiple times and formed relationships. I have traveled the globe many times over. And I will share with the friends here, one thing that I realized is that the relationship that we have with allied nations, yes, can be forged and reinforced by the leaders, but I will tell you, the true strength of those relationships is the people of those nations feeling some level of identity and connection with the people of our country. And that includes the people in this room. Because I will tell you, in meeting with so many foreign leaders, the first foreign leader that I invited to my home as vice president was then German Chancellor Angela Merkel. I had her over for breakfast. And we sat down, it was called a bilateral meeting. We sat down and we talked about everything. It was before Russia invaded Ukraine. We talked about Russia and China and a number of things. And then she leaned over to me and she said, please tell
Barack Obama. Yeah, I don't know if she's drunk. She kind of does sound a little drunk.
Tell me what's going on in your country with voting. Because she was very concerned about the erosion that she was reading about and hearing about in the United States around obstruction of voting rights. I bring it back to Nan because here's the point there. She was
just trying to get an answer, FC Laney.
Fully aware of the leaders and the activists and the heroes that we honor who fought for voting rights. She knew of the struggle. She knew of the work it requires, and she knew what was at stake. And I will tell the folks here that, again, part of the relationship that we will ever have with the people of other nations will be because of folks like the folks in this room who are always fighting for the ideals of America.
How are they fighting?
Always fighting for what we know to be true commitment to freedom, to justice, to liberty, and to equality. So there we go.
Now,
Mikey B, I think that's the reason a lot of people voted for her. They're like, yeah, let me see that.
Let me ask you this, and I'm sure you remember, many out there remember.
He's going to axe or something. I guess they're going to go cut some trees. They don't want to use a chainsaw. I got to use some axes.
President Trump said on day one, he was going to deal with inflation and make America affordable again, and to bring down the prices of groceries. It's safe to say these things didn't happen. So, I mean, what do you make of this? I know, you know, I'm the preacher.
Redbeard, she never met a Richard. She didn't sit.
But you practice better than me. I'd be up in the middle of the night saying, I told you so. But how do you, on a serious side, deal with the fact that we are dealing at a time, this war
FC Laney, send me a link. Send me the title. I want to see it.
Exacerbates it. What's going on with the Straits of Hormuz all exacerbates it. And we're paying for this. This is not just some foreign affair issue somewhere else.
That's right.
The American citizens, black, white, red, blue, don't matter, are paying for this war.
And the American citizens will always pay for war. So that is true. First of all, just to answer the first question, and I heard friends in the room say, he lied. He lied.
She doesn't lie?
He told the American people on day one he was going to bring down prices and costs, and he lied. I will say this, however. You know, when you look at the numbers in terms of that election, 1/3 voted for him, 1/3 voted for us, and 1/3 did not vote. And I do believe there is a healthy number of the folks that voted for him that believed him and voted based on that very important issue, which is, can they afford to get through life with dignity and being able to take care of their family? It's without any question, I would say, the number one issue for most people in our country.
I got you. Here the peace talks.
Overseas, the United States and Iran failed to agree on a peace deal after 21 hours of face-to-face talks in Islamabad, Turkey. Now, the two countries are currently in a 2-week ceasefire. The issues included the Strait of
Deep finger love.
Hormuz, nuclear enrichment, war reparations, and the lifting of sanctions against the Islamic Republic. Iran has also been demanding that Israel stop attacks on Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. The Iranian delegation said the success of the talks depended on the United States' acceptance of Iran's legitimate rights and interests.
My Willie says, everyone, how are you? God bless our greatest president ever, Donald J. Trump. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're going live every day of 2026.
Bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on.
Well, I mentioned the talks were in Turkey. They were actually in Pakistan.
Pakistan, the mediators. Yeah, absolutely.
President Trump earlier told reporters that it, quote, makes no difference, though, to me, whether a deal is reached.
You see, it makes no difference. What a nice approach. What do y'all think? That's just that's what you got to do. You got to make it work, right? Yeah, but how can we find peace? That's the number one thing. Like, can we actually find peace? I think that's one of the most important things. For the libs, we gotta do another one for the libs. The Lord loves you. I love you. Everybody loves you, libs. Everybody loves you. But this is not loading for some reason. It won't let it load. It won't let it load.
And you look at it, though, what he has done is, instead of taking care of the average everyday folk in America around their need for affordability, he'd been taking care of his rich friends and his own family. You look at what's been happening, the cost of gas, the cost of food, unemployment, inflation have gone up since he has been president. And then now, he has, you know, he says what he's thinking. I mean, here's the thing. We don't have to kind of like, what does he mean when he says that?
Interesting.
That's the one problem we don't have. So, he just said the other day, the government shouldn't be responsible for affordable child care.
That's what he said.
This is the same man who pretended that he's a family-first president. They're asking for at least $200 billion. I heard today the number may be as high as $400 billion, $200 to $400 billion for this war. Meanwhile, they've cut Medicaid, Premium prices for health care have gone up. SNAP benefits, WIC. Everybody in this room knows what WIC stands for, women, infants, and children. SNAP benefits, which are intended and were created to feed hungry children, hungry seniors.
Is that another fraud?
So sick of these Fed sloppers. They've been doing this for almost 7 months, lying to your face. And we got them. But before we get them, let me get into the opening statement. I had no idea how popular the opening statement was until I skipped it a few days. And then all of a sudden, people started panicking, asking if I had a fever. Oh, the only fever I've got. No, the only prescription around. We've got a lot to cover tonight. This is going to be a big, big show. Because a couple of things I want to do is I want to open up. I was pointed to this today. This is a recap, believe it or not, from September 17th. From September 17th. On September 17th, well, before I get there, last night we demonstrated, I think, beyond a reasonable doubt, Tyler Robinson was in custody at 6:25 p.m. on September 11th. He was being Mirandized. He, in all likelihood, was in custody before that. Perhaps as early as 6. Maybe, I don't know, maybe earlier. Who knows? And we got a lot of pushback on that. A lot of people say, no. The 6:25 applied to the next day. Nonsense. Total nonsense. It's just not true. It flies in the face of investigative tactics. It flies in the face of competent police work. It is impossible to believe that Tyler Robinson was in custody the evening of September 11th and did not get Mirandized until the evening of September 12th. That is not the way police detectives work. That's not the way police investigations work. It's also unbelievable that Tyler Robinson's family would wait 24 hours after he was in custody to start the process of trying to find a lawyer. So that's nonsense. It's not true. I don't know if you guys watch other podcasts. I watched about a 40-minute clip today of Danks.
Am I allowed to say that, chat? Camel toe is Indian and Haitian. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. And yeah, for the libs, we got something for you. You want to let some immigrants in? That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Let's see what's happening in our beloved Spain. Oh, yeah. Fun. Great. Yeah, it definitely is all the distraction. Definitely. This is a funny kind of marathon. Curious about what's going on over here. Not obeying the street laws, not obeying any type of laws, but it's not migration, it's the Great Replacement. Very interesting. Yes, bad news everywhere. Oh man. What's the game plan, y'all? What is the game plan? Fun run out. That's not only like 40, 50 people. That's a large number of people. That's in the tens of thousands, most likely. Given them coming out of the valleys over there. That, man. Look at that.
everybody that they do.
I will say, people used to call you fucking crazy 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, they were calling me. I told everybody that they do make sacrifices and they are eating babies, and it's sad to say, but somebody needs to say it. And I feel like we got all these cowards in the world that are celebrities that will stand up for anything but that. Before it was like, you're crazy, Ryan, but now that the files were showing that.
Laser 8776 asks, were Native Americans black? I don't know, man. I don't know. And what do you mean by Native Americans? I guess Native Americans were just Native Americans. Thank you for joining in on the chat. We're going live every single day of 2026, so make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications.
They have these cold words, and they're saying these things that may be referring to them eating people, may not. You know, I'm all with whatever protest, but like, you can't even protest about this. Like, what is everybody really scared of? It's like, at this point, it's like, if nobody's gonna be a voice, I'm always gonna be a voice to it. And but any chance I have to speak against it, I will. Release all the files.
They're eating babies, man. Like, that's that you think is real. So, well, yeah. Not only that, I think that there's sacrifices going on every day in Los Angeles. I mean, allegedly, like, high level musicians, let's say, high level female musician is like, killing chickens every day, doing sacrifices, like,
high level.
Well, I don't want to say. I don't want to say names because I don't want to get sued, and I don't want to be dead either.
What does it rhyme like?
Here's the purchase order. I started looking at the comments for some stuff. Not that.
No, they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires, and everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh, and they drink human blood. They do it. They say you can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that. They're doing it. There are so many victims.
Off shelves. We're not gonna stop. And if they want to sue me, guess what? I'm gonna countersue them. Guys, save the children. It's so sad. They're telling me I need a mental evaluation because I'm defending children. The little children, the babies, guys, babies. They're eating babies, literally. And I'm the crazy one. Bro, you guys need to get behind me, bro. They're eating kids. It's so sad, bro. It's sad. No, I'm not okay, bro. It happened to me, and it's gonna happen to... If we let them do this... You guys work for the devil if you guys say, is bro okay? You work for the devil. Get away from me, devil. I'm so sad, man. But it's okay. We're going to Congress. And we're going to get them down. Remember, it says in the Bible that Jesus is coming back like a roaring lion with blood on his robe from the enemies he slayed. It's not time to play no more with these people. It also says in Matthew, if anybody causes these little kids to stumble, it's better that you tie a large weight around their neck and take them to the bottom of the ocean. It's up for all of them. If you don't support me, you're indirectly working for Satan, because these people are eating children. This is disgusting. Disgusting, man. Why do I need help, bro? You know how you guys help? You start this as a movement. We don't let up. Every day we need to be about it. Every day. We can't let this go. Hashtag save the children, please. Please, guys, get behind me, man. Please. I'm going to Congress and I'm getting on everyone. I'm putting my life on the line for this movement. Do you understand what I'm putting on the line? Can you guys at least respect it? Can you guys share this live? For the life of me, share this live. Have I...
A little wild, y'all. A little wild. A little.
Bestie of 20 years. First Lady Melania Trump's bestie of 20 years, Amanda Ungaro, is unleashing holy hell on X, and with good reason. Here's how it started, and here's how it's going. Stick around. Let me tell you.
I hope he's not accurate about that. But if you guys have any proof on the other side, I would like to know. Definitely would like to know.
Something. There is no place more dangerous in this world than the space between a mother and her child. And to quote Bob Dylan, when you got nothing to lose. So yesterday, the First Lady gave a desperate live statement from the White House Grand Foyer. She was visibly shaking as she denied her links to Jeffrey Epstein. Why out of the blue? Because Amanda Ungaro spent 20 years in Melania's inner circle. A woman who was even a UN ambassador is currently threatening to torch the entire administration from an iPhone in Brazil.
Yeah, and you remember that Spanish lady? The Spanish lady who came out and running and saying that they do that to children? She didn't look like she was lying.
Amanda Ungaro was there for it all. The Mar-a-Lago New Year's parties, the inauguration, the private UN galas. She was the partner of Paolo Zampoli, the man who literally introduced Donald Trump to Melania.
Spot Raider Northeast says, laugh out loud. No evidence. What about them emailing each other talking about eating that and that?
Yeah. They met when she was just a teenager and he was 32. But when the relationship went south after 2 decades, Zampoli didn't just call a lawyer for custody. He weaponized the full force of the federal government against the woman he called his wife for 19 years to win a custody battle over their American-born teenage son, Giovanni Zampoli. Paolo allegedly coordinated a hit with a high-ranking ICE official named David Venturella and his fellow Kennedy Center board member, Pam Bondi. The result, Amanda was arrested in Miami on a manufactured charge involving a single photo of her hand resting on a laser machine. She was held in ICE detention for 3 months, then deported to Brazil without trial. He kept his seat on the board next to Pam Bondi. He kept his title as presidential special envoy. But then he went too far. A Brazilian court ordered the child returned to his mother, and in total defiance of international law and a direct court order, Paolo Zampoli reportedly snatched the boy from Brazil and fled the country. Amanda has now filed a formal kidnapping complaint. She has nothing left to lose. Amanda is on X right now, posting at Melania saying, "I will take legal action against you and your PDF file husband." She says that she was put on the Jeffrey Epstein plane for the first time when she was 16 years old. Her agent back then? Jean-Luc Brunel, the same guy I mentioned in the Brett Ratner video, the man who co-ran Epstein's modeling agency and then offed himself in a French prison before he could testify. Sound familiar? Amanda says she has all the receipts, photos, physical abuse, proof of millions in insurance fraud, evidence of government bribery. My question is Amanda Ungaro's silence for sale, or will she choose justice over her own personal interest? She's telling the First Lady to shut her mouth because she's about to expose everyone. This isn't a custody battle anymore. It's a thermonuclear threat. So, do you think...
So what's happening here? What exactly is happening here? Is that the reason Melania had to make that video?
Think the truth is finally coming out, or do you think it's another nothing burger? Like, subscribe.
That is wild. She looks very distressed in that photo. Where did it go? Wild. From that, or that's the after photo. Here's the before photo. Man, what a difference. What a difference. Here's something inspiring for y'all. We're going live every single day of 2026. So make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, do you guys agree or disagree with that? It's very important to choose your friends and the people that you spend time around with and the type of information you get. And there's a little test that some people actually do. And one of those tests is you ask someone, or you tell someone a story, and that story is like a story where it's kind of bad about you on your part and either makes you look bad or a mistake you made. And if they light up and they're like super happy that you're going downhill, usually that's a sign they're kind of either excited to find the solution or just excited you're going through a bad time in your life. And on the flip side, if you tell that person something good about your life or an accomplishment and they don't light up, that's a almost a for sure sign that they're not on your side. But also they could be thinking about themselves like, hey, this person was successful, how do I become successful? But that's another thing just to recognize, and maybe hype up your friends if they're going through some good things, you know, and if they're going through bad things, try to find a solution and try to help them. No reason not to. We're going live every day at 2026, so make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. What's going on with Trump and his $400 million ballroom?
This is the East Wing of the White House. For more than 100 years, it has served as the public entrance to one of the most important residences in the world. If you were to ever schedule a visit, this is exactly where you would be arriving. Aside from that, it is also home to various important offices, such as the Office of the First Lady and the Presidential Emergency Operations Center. But today, the East Wing looks like this. More than a century of history torn down to shreds in just a matter of days. All cleared to make space for what Donald Trump calls
Great ballroom, and we're going to build the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. There'll be nothing like it.
You know, the kind of thing he says about basically everything he does. But this ballroom is just one of many controversial changes that Trump has planned for the White House. Some of these changes have already transformed parts of the presidential residence in ways we've never really seen before. And if the ballroom already sounds unusual, it gets even stranger. UFC fights and...
Spot. Raider Northeast says, can't even say no to Israel. That's how powerful Trump actually is.
The White House are two things I never thought I would say in the same sentence. But that is exactly what's happening on June 14th this year, which also happens to be Trump's birthday. It's a list of ideas that feels less like a traditional renovation and more like Trump transforming the White House into his own personal resort. And depending on who you ask, these changes are either long overdue modernization projects or a deeply controversial attempt to reshape one of the most historic buildings in the country.
Still better than the basketball court.
Quick disclaimer, this story is still unfolding and things are changing fast. But let's start at the beginning as we take a closer look at Trump's plan to transform the White House. This is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, or more commonly known as the White House. For more than 2 centuries, this building has served as both the home and the President of the United States. Inspired by European neoclassical architecture, the building was designed to project power and stability. But the White House we see today is actually the result of more than 200 years of constant change. The building has been rebuilt, expanded and renovated countless times by different sitting presidents. For example, in 1962, John F. Kennedy redesigned the iconic Rose Garden just outside the Oval Office, giving it the layout we largely see today. Then in the 70s, Richard Nixon converted an indoor swimming pool into what is now the press briefing room. And more recently, Obama repurposed the tennis court to be also used for basketball.
Talking about basketball.
Though these may be relatively small changes, what started as a single mansion has slowly grown into the White House complex that we know today. At the center of it all is the executive residence, where the president and their family actually live.
Unsupervised says it's real is heavily woven into US since WW2, World War II. Even the education curriculum was set by Robert Maxwell. Guy Geevely connected to Moss Ad and Ghislaine's papa. Yeah, it's unfortunate like how they, or I don't know, unfortunate, but it is widely, allegedly known that they did alter many of the things within the United States education and the university system, and not actually to benefit the people of the United States, which some would consider very sad.
Was the very first part of the White House, which was built and completed all the way in 1800. Aside from various bedrooms reserved for the first family, this building also contains the White House Library and the diplomatic reception room, which serves as an entrance for foreign delegations. Connected by the West Colonnade from the executive residence is the West Wing. This part of the White House is home to the iconic Oval Office and serves as the primary workplace for the president and their staff. The West Wing also contains the cabinet room, the press briefing room and the famous Situation Room. It's the command center where presidents monitor military operations, intelligence briefings and major global crises. Decisions about wars, hostage rescues and counterterrorism missions are often made right here. If you've ever seen this iconic photo of Obama during the operation that successfully eliminated Osama bin Laden, well, that was taken in here too. And finally, on the opposite side of the executive residence is the East Wing. Well, was the East Wing.
It was the East Wing.
It used to serve as the public entrance to the White House, and it also housed the offices of the First Lady and her staff.
Nice picture.
Beneath it was the Presidential Emergency Operations Center. But in October 2025, the entire East Wing was demolished. Remember that month, because the timeline of events will be important as we dig deeper into the legality of all this. For decades, this layout remained largely untouched. Presidents redecorated rooms, updated technology, and occasionally restored parts of the building. But the overall structure stayed largely the same, even during what was arguably the most dramatic renovation in the building's history.
They definitely gutted that and reinforced all the foundation, and that's incredible picture, if that is a real picture.
In 1948, President Harry Truman ordered the complete reconstruction of the executive residence's interior, after finding out it was in imminent danger of collapse. The project was massive. Workers gutted the entire building from the inside. Everything except the outer stone walls.
Harry Truman, absolutely important, not to be confused by Harry Falseman,
was removed. Behind the historic facade, an entirely new steel frame was installed, along with modern plumbing, electrical systems and reinforced floors. By the time the renovation was finished in 1952, the interior of the White House had been completely rebuilt. But from the outside it looked almost exactly the same. The historic facade was preserved, and most importantly, the overall layout of the White House complex remained unchanged. Which is exactly why what's happening right now is quite unusual. Because for the first time in generations, an entire section of the White House complex has been demolished. And it wasn't because the structure was collapsing or an emergency renovation. Donald Trump personally ordered the East Wing to be taken down to make space for his extravagant ballroom. So let's take a closer look at this ballroom. In July 2025, roughly 6 months after returning to office for a second term, Trump unveiled plans for what would become the largest new addition to the White House complex in modern history. A massive state ballroom, built directly where the East Wing once stood. According to Trump, the new ballroom would be capable of hosting as many as 650 guests at once.
I think maybe one of the reasons the East Wing is a big deal is because they're trying to make it protected, like create a bunker and to have it drone proof and to make it extremely secure for him and all the future presidents. And it seems like a lot of people don't want that security for presidents for whatever reason.
For comparison, the East Room, which is
yeah, for sure. Who cares? Stop the war. And fix the things in the United States before you start jumping around in other countries.
The largest event space inside the White House can only hold around 200 people for formal seating.
Max Ninja has joined the chat. They hired illegals to build it.
Dinner. Because of this limitation, large state banquets and receptions are often held in temporary tents, set up on the South Lawn. It's a solution that has existed for decades, but one that Trump has repeatedly criticized. For years, he has argued that the White House should have a proper ballroom, a permanent venue designed specifically for large diplomatic events. And to be fair, he might actually have a good point here. Relying on temporary tents for major state events isn't exactly ideal, so a permanent structure like a ballroom could make sense here. But the problem isn't the idea, it's how he does it.
Adam Cooper says, Trump is the first president in the history that built an airbase for Saudis, Muslims inside USA. Honestly, can you tell me more about that? Is that accurate?
Critics argue that the demolition
Will there be trailer hookups?
went ahead without any review whatsoever, skipping the legal process normally required to protect historic buildings. And that's why they sued the Trump administration. I will get to that part in a second. Based on early plans, this ballroom would span 8,360 square meters, or 90,000 square feet. For comparison, the executive residence is only 5,100 square meters, or roughly 55,000 square feet. Initial renders of the project feature grand chandeliers, high ceilings, and ornate classical detailing. It's designed to match the historic architecture of the rest of the White House. But a project of this scale obviously comes with a massive price tag. Current estimates place the cost of the ballroom to around $400 million, making it one of the most expensive additions ever proposed for the White House complex. So, who's actually paying for it? According to the Trump administration, it would be funded entirely through private donations, rather than taxpayer money.
We're doing it, no cost to the country. The money's being put in by me and donors.
And that's exactly where things start to get even more problematic. Because this isn't just a charity project. This is a permanent addition to the White House, the most powerful.
So allegedly, based on reports from October 2025, the Trump administration announced an agreement allowing Qatar to construct a training facility for its Air Force at the Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. Not Ohio, but Idaho. Very similar sounding, I guess.
Building in the United States. And now wealthy donors are being invited to fund it, which raises a pretty obvious question. What do they get in return? Access, influence, favorable decisions down the line? Accepting private donations for a permanent addition to the White House raises serious questions about influence and transparency. And knowing Trump, there's likely more tied to these donations than just funding a ballroom. Whether it be his shady dealings in crypto or fossil fuels, the story is always the same. Trump's corporate and individual donors benefit in many different ways, thanks to his influence and power as the president. Then there's the question of timing. Building a project of this size inside one of the most secure and historically protected compounds in the world is far from simple. Before construction could begin, it needs approval from multiple oversight bodies and federal planning commissions. But looking at this timeline, things don't seem to add up. In February 2026, the Commission of Fine Arts voted to approve Trump's plans for the ballroom. Notably, all members of that commission were appointed by Trump himself, after firing the previous members in October. Shortly after, a federal judge declined to immediately stop construction on the ballroom after a lawsuit was filed by preservation groups. But a few weeks later, just as we were editing this video, that decision changed. On March 31st, the same judge ordered construction to halt, saying that the project likely cannot move forward without approval from Congress. The administration has already appealed, meaning the legal battle is still ongoing. Then, almost immediately after that ruling, another major decision came in. On April 2nd, the National Capital Planning Commission voted in favor of the project's design. But despite that approval, the judge's ruling still blocks construction from moving forward. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. But looking at this whole timeline of events, you realize that Trump started the demolition of the East Wing as early as October, with crews quickly clearing the structure to prepare the site for construction. This was 6 months earlier, before the NCPC could even vote to approve the project. That's why the National
Guys, I gotta restart the stream, so make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. I love you, the Lord loves you. And if there's any hate from people drinking that haterade, just let it roll off of your back like water does off of a duck's back. I love you, the Lord loves you, and we'll see you soon.